you hit the nail on the head when it comes to a doctor going to a weekend course, or maybe even it's a continuum, right? Very comprehensive course. They learn how to perform this procedure clinically, but then they try and present the treatment the same way as they would present a single unit implant. Anytime you're going to go and you're going to spend 10 grand on a continuing education course, you need to also understand that you've got to spend time and effort on learning how to present that treatment.
You can be the price leader if you want. The other advantage that you have as a local dentist, the owner, is that you can do a wide range of that you can offer them, all the way from a single implant and everything in between, all the way up to full arch. You have a lot more options at your disposal, a lot more things in your tool belt that you can meet people at different price levels and different needs based on what they're experiencing. Welcome back to another episode of the Full Arch Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help you create, convert, and close more full arch cases so you can grow the way that you want. And today I have Marcus Hines, who is the founder of Marketing Implant Consulting. And we're going to go over the 3 things that if you don't get these right, you will not grow your full arch cases. This is going to bring a lot of value to you. Marcus has a ton of experience. He's worked for BioHorizons and now runs his own company. You're going to want to hear this. Stay tuned. All right, we are live, and I'm excited to talk to my friend Marcus Hines. I actually met him several years ago at an event that we had, and at the time, you were working with BioHorizons, and you were a W-2 working for them, and came to one of our events, had a great time meeting you, learning about you, and now we're talking, and you've started your own business. So, Marcus, thank you so much for coming on, and I want to ask you the question that we ask everybody, because I think it brings the most value to our audience, is what's the number one thing that you're seeing that's helping dentists grow their full arch cases?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gary. First of all, thank you for having me on. I admire your work and I respect you for sure. We met at a SMC event that you were putting on. And it's a great question. You know, in my opinion and experience, it's really a 3-part answer. One is, the office really has to be able to attract the patient, which means they need to advertise, right? They need to go direct to consumer, but also a lot of these offices have these patients right in their office, right? They've got patients who have been coming to them for 10, 15, 20 years. They think the doctor can walk on water because of all the treatment they've done for them. And they believe in the doctor's clinical skill set. And now they've had this partial denture they've been wearing for maybe 10 years, right? And now it's broken down. Maybe they lost an abutment tooth and the partial denture needs to be replaced. Well, a lot of these doctors and their team members won't even discuss full arch implant dentistry. Maybe the patient has, 7, 8 Pontics on the partial denture. And they talk to the patient about replacing the missing tooth or replacing the partial denture with a new tooth. And you've completely missed the opportunity to have that patient as a full arch implant case, right? So number one is you have to attract the patient. And that works out really well when an office can do direct to consumer, but also look within their database to influence these patients to move forward with treatment. The second thing is they need to be able to diagnose these patients for full arch implant dentistry. Again, too many of these patients go undiagnosed. And so the office ends up missing the opportunity to have that patient go through full arch implant dentistry. And again, it's a lost opportunity. And then the third thing is you have to be able to close the patient. You have to be able to influence that patient, educate them, and inspire them to move forward with treatment. Too many offices think that the patients can't afford full arch implant dentistry, and there couldn't be anything further from the truth. The main thing is they have to be influenced to move forward with treatment, and they'll find the money, right? And then you can help them find the money. So it's really those 3 things. You got to attract the patient. Number 2, you've got to diagnose the patient. And number three, you have to be able to influence the patient to move forward. Those things are what I find offices, when they are successful with Full Arch, they're able to do those three things.
Hey, got an important announcement for you. We are hosting the second annual Full Arch Advantage event where you learn to create, convert, and close more full arches so your office can grow the way that you want. This is going to be in partnership with BioHorizons, and this is our second year, but the important part is it's going to be virtual, so you don't have to fly out, buy hotels, travel with your team. You can just register and block off the days and watch virtually. And right now we have early bird pricing. It's never going to be cheaper than right now. I don't even have a discount code because it's so cheap. It's only $199 right now to register. And it's for your team. It's for your dentists. It's for your treatment coordinators, your dental assistants, and your marketing managers. And you're going to learn a ton of stuff to grow. Last year's event had a 74 NPS score, which is amazing. And the feedback was really, really good. So if you're looking at leveling up, we have a ton of new content, a ton of new automations and things that you can add to your practice to really grow, and executing on the phones to make sure that you can grow the way that you want. So don't miss this. Go to Full Arch Advantage right now and sign up. This price will not be around for long. That's awesome. And then so why do offices struggle with this so much? And where's the gap, right? So that sounds relatively easy, right? But and I know it's not easy at all. It's actually very complicated and hard. And if you go in with your blinders on, it'll absolutely kick your butt. So where's the gap there? Like in your experience, where's the gap of understanding from the office side of why these offices? And I'll share my thoughts on this. So
sure.
And then I would love your thoughts. So my thoughts are this. Is that these practices, when they add, anytime a dentist wants to add treatment to their office, so I have a GP office and I start to learn clinically how to do something else. I want to add, just let's say, a single implant, right? So what do? I go take the course, I get some practice, get some reps in, and then I go back to my team and I go, hey, we're going to start doing single implants and this is what we're going to charge and stuff. And there's a little bit of change management, right? There's a little bit, but it's not huge. If I want to do aligners, same exact thing. There's a little bit of change management, a little bit the team has to learn some things about sales and things like that, but it's relatively easy, right? Like it's not the biggest deal in the world. It has a little bit more complications, but it's still, you can do it. And so I have this history as a dentist where it's just like, well, I want to do something, I learn clinically, and then I add it, and then I kind of brute force it through, and eventually my team catches on, and then we get it up off the ground, and we're successful at it. Full Arch just isn't that way. And so when you come in and you approach it that way, you all of a sudden learn very quickly, like, oh man, this is a way bigger beast than I've experienced. That's my point of view. And keep in mind, Marcus, I'm looking from the outside in. So I'd love your thoughts. Like, where do you see the disconnect?
Yeah, well, you sound like you're on the inside to me because it's completely consistent with my belief and my experience. You hit the nail on the head when it comes to a doctor going to a weekend course, or maybe even it's a continuum, right? Very comprehensive course. They learn how to perform this procedure clinically, but then they try and present the treatment the same way as they would present a single unit implant, right? So now you've got this single unit implant. Let's say maybe it costs the patient $4,000 or $5,000 from start to finish. The patient's insurance will pay, a certain portion. Patient pulls out the credit card and pays the difference. Well, you can't really do that with full arch implant dentistry, right? So we're talking about a case that may cost the patient $25,000, $30,000, $50,000, $60,000. Well, most people are not liquid with $60,000. So you really have to present it in a different way. You've got to educate the patient. You need to use visual aids and certain verbal skills that are conducive to influencing that patient, to move forward with treatment. One of the studies I always like to refer doctors to is the Leisure World study of 2011. And it talks about the mortality in patients who are missing 20 or more teeth. They have a 30% higher rate of mortality because it basically comes down to the fact that they cannot masticate their food properly And as a result of that, they swallow large chunks or they avoid certain healthy foods altogether, right? And so if you think a denture is just as effective as a prosthesis that's supported by implants, then why should you spend $60,000 for a dual arch treatment plan when you can get the same thing with a denture for, say, $3,000? And so oftentimes patients are just not educated on the benefits of full arch implant dentistry. And as a consequence, the office is not able to influence the patient to dig deeper into their resources and pay for the treatment that they need to preserve their life, actually.
Yeah, it's a huge life decision. It's closer to like brain surgery than it is to a filling, right? Like
absolutely.
It's closer to a something of that nature. I know that's extreme, but that's the more and more I learn about it, that's what I'm learning is like you are rearranging your face and changing the way you're going to interact with the world forever, not just cosmetically, but physically as well. And it's just with disease and all those kind of things, all the stats on dentures is crazy because they get dirty. They're hard to care for. They have to come in and out. Anything that's going in and out of your mouth that clips in is just like, there's a huge risk with that. So I'm totally with, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, and going back to your point, it all has to do with how you're presenting the treatment differently, right? And so the larger the dollar amount, you have to take a different approach. You can't present it the same way as you would present a single missing tooth, right? And number 30, because that is not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily have a consequence on your life or the longevity of your life like full arch implant dentistry does. So, it's just you gotta present it in a different way.
Yeah. Yep. I'm totally with you. And so where do you think, so after the dentist says, okay, I learned clinically, I think clinically I can do this. What's the next step after that for them to get, cause it's like the chicken and the egg, right? So it's like, well, I need to market. And then you market, you spend $20,000, which is a normal budget, right? $10,000 to $20,000 is normal for a full arch budget every month.
Yep.
And you spend that and then you get nothing. So what do? You get mad, right? So it's like, oh, I can't do that. But here's the flip side of it. You say, okay, I want to do full arch now and I'm doing it and I have some patients in office, so I'm selling them now. And I want to get more opportunities to practice. You have to market to get those opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like a chicken and an egg kind of scenario there that a lot of dentists find themselves in. How do you kind of think through that? Or how would you think through that if you were a dentist?
Yeah. So anytime you're going to go and you're going to spend, 10 grand on a continuing education course, you need to also understand that you've got to spend time and effort on learning how to present that treatment, right? Otherwise, if it's something new that you're doing and you don't really understand how to present that treatment, then all the clinical skill sets that you gain over this, weekend course or a continuum course could be for naught if you don't know how to present the treatment. So, one of our mutual friends and colleagues, Stacy Farley, I like how she puts it in terms of being able to influence a patient on how to move forward with treatment. And I don't have those details in terms of, her program, and perhaps you could share that. But I know she has a training program that will allow doctors and their team members to go through and review and learn how to present these cases, you know, and I know doctors who have done that are very successful as a result of, looking at her program.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stacy is amazing. Stacy's a killer and she has figured it out. And she's really, really good. Like, closes at 75%, which is unheard of. And
Crazy.
a lot of people, when I say stuff online about her and stuff, people call me liars and call me names and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm not lying. Like, I've literally went and looked at her numbers. I've talked to her implant reps and they're like, no, she's doing 60 arches a month at one location, small office too. Yeah. Not a big surgery center, right? Like it is, they do surgery there, but it's not what you would envision somebody doing 60 arches a month. They do it on a relatively small marketing budget as well. So compared to
she's
percentage
on to something.
She's on to something. Exactly. And so she created a whole playbook around that. I think in this episode it'll be linked down below, but it does help people because there's basically a lot of it has to do with limiting beliefs, to be honest with you, in the dental industry. And I'll pick your brain on this. So I had a dentist yesterday. I posted online. I posted something about SEO and Full Arch or something, and this dentist said something about it. And he said, and to be successful today with Full Arch, you have to be the price leader because there's big guys like Clear Choice and Nuvia who are just going to eat your budget. And so I went and looked at his website. He's doing Full Arch for like $10,000, the whole thing in the end. Yeah, I know, right? And so I was just like, hey, listen, you can be the price leader if you want. There's always room in the market for that person. Someone's going to be the price leader, right? Like someone is going to be the price leader, and that's fine. And that's actually a marketing technique as well, right? But on the flip side, don't say that it's not possible to sell the larger cases just because there's bigger practices out there, because there's actually some advantages to being the smaller guy, right? Like number one, you're the owner doctor. Nuvia might not have an owner doctor. I don't know how their structure is, but a lot of times they don't have owner doctors there. And I know Clear Choice, they usually don't have an owner doctor at the practice, right? Like it's usually a doctor from another practice that owns another practice going over there and working there on certain days. Sure. So that's an advantage. The other advantage that you have as a local dentist, the owner, is that you can do a wide range of services that you can offer them, all the way from a single implant and everything in between, all the way up to Full Arch, where Nuvia and Clear Choice, they just do Full Arch. So you have a lot more options at your disposal, a lot more things in your tool belt that you can meet people at different price levels and different needs based on what they're experiencing. So there's all these opportunities. And then if you lead with value, you can be the guy that knocks it out of the park, because value is willing, whatever somebody's willing to explain or pay for it. And so what are your thoughts on that? Like being the price leader and those kind of things. Like, how do you look at it? I look at it as someone is going to be the price leader, but someone also is going to be the value leader, and you can pick where you want to fall on that spectrum. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are that, look, I mean, everything has a price leader, right? If you're in retail and you're Walmart, you're a price leader. You can, but then you've got on the other end of the spectrum, Nordstrom's, right? So you expect to get a more quality product when you go to one versus, going to the other. And dentistry is no different. The thing is, the office who's selling a Full Arch case for $12,000, they can thrive. But it's impossible for you to believe that they can sell a Full Arch case for $12,000 and offer the same level of a case that, is zirconia or some other material that's more expensive. Well, if you are selling your procedure for $12,000, again, there's a market for it, and perhaps you want to be the market leader on price, but you're going to have to get your margin from somewhere, right? So, which means you're going to have to cut costs in other areas. And so I feel like too often, though, doctors who sell on a completely price premises, they feel like there's no other way around it. They're selling on price because they have to. And, I agree with you that if you're in private practice and you have the autonomy to, price your product how you want it, you can have a complete spectrum of procedures. Maybe you've got a Full Arch case that, or a procedure that's going to cost $12,000. You've got another opportunity to charge a patient $18,000. And then on the higher end, you can charge the patient $25,000 per arch. And so, but again, you've got to be able to present all three of those. And, but again, I just feel like too often doctors and their team members feel like it's all about price. And the less capable you are of explaining the procedure and the benefits, as I said before, then the more you have to rely on giving a cheaper price. But if you can train your team to really understand how to present these cases and tie it to the patient and understand their emotions and develop empathy for the patient and so on and so forth, then, you put yourself in a position where you can charge a higher dollar, even than Clear Choice, because you've got more of a personable opportunity with the patient to influence that patient in a way that, they're running sort of on a treadmill and they have a really good model that works for them, but being in private practice and having the autonomy to call all the shots, you can approach it from a different vantage point that positions you to, again, be able to charge on the lower end, the middle end, and in my opinion, on the higher end.
That's
I know
awesome.
that was a long answer.
No.
But
it is. It's complicated. It's complicated.
It is complicated.
Awesome. So if someone wants to reach out to you and learn more about what you do, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Sure, absolutely. Really, the best way to get in touch with me is through LinkedIn. They can find me at LinkedIn/Marcus Hines, and they can also find my website at marketingimplantconsulting.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, Marcus.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.